Alright, go ahead and put number 15 into your notebook, scientific to standard notation. Go ahead and turn to page 15. And I want you to write at the top, scientific standard notation. And the first thing is writing, so IXL is going to have you do two things, okay? One is rewriting in standard notation, rewriting in scientific notation. The first thing we're going to do is rewrite in standard notation. Okay, rewrite in standard notation. Alright, so for rewrite in standard notation, let me get something here. So rewrite in standard notation. Okay, so two things we want you to write. The first is this, negative exponents. Okay, move decimal left. Negative exponents, you're making it smaller. Okay, and then the other thing is positive exponents. Move decimal right. Alright, so here's the first example. 1.2 times 10 squared. Okay, 1.2 times 10 squared. Look at the exponent. It's a positive exponent, so you're going to move it to the right 2 times. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite it here, 1.2. Alright, so we're moving to the right, so I'm going to move the decimal to the right. 1 over there's 1 time, and I'm going to move it another time also. Okay, so the decimal is going to be right here. There's a 1, there's a 2. In this little space here that I went over for that second time, you're going to put a 0. Okay, so your answer then in standard notation is 120. Right? You just moved it over to the right 2 times. The decimal at the end, if it's on the right side of the number, you don't have to put it. Okay, so you're just going to put in 120. Let's take a look at another one, number 2. For the number 2, let's go ahead and do 6.43 times 10 to the 4th power. Alright, so it's a positive exponent. So positive exponents, you're going to move it to the right. So 6.43. Let's take a look at that decimal. We're going to move it to the right 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first time was past the 4, the second time was past the 3, and then the last 2 times we're going to have to put in zeros. Okay, so this number is going to be 6, 4, 3. Alright, empty spot, so I'm going to put a 0 in each of those empty spots. Okay, so this is 64,300, and that's what you would type into IXL. So any empty slots, you're going to put them in, put zeros into them. Okay, and this was the original problem right here. So let me highlight it. Alright, so let's take a look at another one, number 3. Alright, so number 3, you have this, 2.3 times 10 to the negative 3. Okay, so this time we have a negative exponent. So for negative exponents, we're going to move the decimal to the left. Alright, so let's write that 2.3 here. I need to move it to the left 3 spaces. Okay, because the exponent is 3. So let's move it to the left 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. So there's where the decimal is going to be. So I'm going to put the decimal right there. Empty slot. Empty slot. Then I have a 2 and a 3. So you're going to type in 0.0023. Okay. So notice when the decimal is to the left of the number, I have to put the decimal. If it's to the right of the number, I don't have to put it. Okay, so in numbers 1 and 2 is to the right of the number. I didn't have to put it here. The decimal is to the left of everything, so I have to put the decimal. All right, let's take a look at number 4. All right, so for number 4, let's do 3.77 times 10 to the negative 1. Okay, so it's a negative exponent, so I'm going to have to move the decimal to the left. Just move it to the left one time. Okay, so let's go ahead and write it. 3.77, move it to the left one time, so I don't have to move it over in any empty slots, so I don't have to put any zeros in there. So it's going to be 0.377. Okay, so that's what I put into IXL. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the other thing IXL is going to have you do. The other thing it'll have you do is rewrite in scientific notation. Okay, rewrite in scientific notation. Alright, so a few notes I want you to write for that. Actually, there's several. Okay. The first thing is, so I'm gonna write the hashtag or the pound symbol for the number. Okay, if number is bigger than 1, okay, you have a positive exponent. Okay, if number is smaller than 1, you have a negative exponent. Okay. All right. So after that, you need to place the decimal place decimal to make coefficient between 1 and 10. Okay, so the coefficient's the big number. Okay, so I'm going to also write this. It has to be bigger than or equal to 1. Okay, or it has to be less than 10. Okay, so that means it has to be between 1 and 10. It has to be bigger than or equal to 1. Okay, or it has to be less than 10. Okay, so let's go ahead and the last thing is that the new exponent is the number of times you move the decimal. Okay, or the number of places. Okay, so the number of, I'll just leave time there. The number of places or the number of times you move the decimal. Alright, so this is how it's going to look in IXL. Okay, so this is number 5. Alright, so for number 5, IXL might give you something like this. 130,000. Okay, and then it will also give you, for your answer, you'll have a box. Okay, it'll have times 10, and I'll have a box for the exponent. Okay. Alright, so this number, 130,000, it's bigger than 1. So the exponent is going to be positive. You just keep that in mind. It's going to be positive. Okay? Because it's bigger than 1, it's positive. It's smaller than 1, it's negative. It's bigger than 1, it'll be a positive. Okay? Now I want you to place the decimal to make the coefficient between 1 and 10. So you need to put the decimal somewhere. Where are you going to put it? Between these two zeros? Between these two zeros? Between these two zeros? Between the 3 and the 0 or the 1 and the 3? Okay, so if I put it between the 3 and the 0, where my pen is, I'll have 13. Okay? It needs to be between 1 and 10. 13 is bigger than 10. If I place it between the 1 and the 3, I'll have 1.3. 1.3 is bigger than 1 and smaller than 10. That's where I want it. Okay? I want the decimal between two numbers to make it between 1 and 10. If I put it there, I have it 1.3. That's between 1 and 10. So what I'll put is 1.3. Okay. And now I need to see how many times I moved the decimal. The decimal started way back here at the end. Okay, there is no decimal. That means it started way on the right. Okay, so let's see how many times I moved it. I moved it over this 0, this 0, this 0, this 0, and then the 3. So I moved it over 5 numbers, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? I moved it over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I count my little divots, it's 5. So the exponent is 5. I moved it 5 spaces. I moved it 5 times or 5 spaces. Okay, let's take a look at another one. Okay, so this is what you'd put into IXL. Let's do one that looks like this. 0.00097. Okay, so that's what IXL will start you at. That's the problem it'll give you. And then it'll also give you a box times 10 and a box for the exponent. Okay, so let's first determine if we have a positive or negative exponent. Okay, 0.0, well, it's 0 point something. So it's smaller than 1. Notice it's not negative, right? The number itself isn't negative. It's just a very small number, right? So the number is smaller than 1. It's 0 point something. So if the number is smaller than 1, you have a negative exponent. So let's make a note that it's going to be negative. Okay. All right, so we need to place the decimal to make the coefficient between 1 and 10. So where would I put it? Between these two zeros? These two zeros, the 0 and the 9, or the 9 and the 7? If I place it between the 0 and the 9, I have 0.9. 0.9 is less than 1. I don't want that. Okay, I want it between 1 and 10. If I place it between the 9 and the 7, I have 9.7. 9.7 is bigger than 1, and it's smaller than 10. So that's where I want my decimal. 9.7. I want it right there. Okay? So I'll put here 9.7. That's where I'll put my decimal between there. Alright, so now let's count to see how many times we had to move the decimal, or how many numbers we had to move it over. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? I had to move it past the 3 zeros and the 9. I had to move it 4 times. So it's going to be 4. And remember, this number is less than 1, so I know it's going to be negative. So it's going to be negative 4. You have to put in that negative 4, or Excel's going to tell you it's wrong. Okay. Alright, let's do another one. Let's do one like this. This is number 7. Okay, so let's do 408. Okay, 408. That's the original problem for my Excel. And again, it'll give you a box. It'll give you times 10, and then another box for the exponent. Okay, so the first thing is this number bigger than 1 or smaller than 1? Okay, So it's bigger than 1. Okay, so it's going to be a positive exponent. Let's note that this is going to be a positive exponent. Alright, so I need to place the decimal between coefficients to make it between 1 and 10. So where will I put it? I will put it right here. Well, let's test it. If I put it between the 0 and the 8, it'll be 40.8. 40.8 is bigger than 10. I don't want it there. If I between it between the 4 and the 0, I have 4.08. 4.08, okay, is between 1 and 10. It's bigger than 1 and smaller than 10. 4.08. So that's where I want it. I want it 4.08. Okay. Now, let's see how many times I had to move the decimal. I want it between the 4 and the 0. Right now, it's at the end of the 8. Right? It's to the right of the 8. Okay, so let's see how many times I had to move it. Let's move it 1, 2 times. Past the 8 and past the 0. So this will be a positive 2. 4.08 times 10 to the second power is the same as 408. Okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and do another one. Let's do number 8. Let's do this one. 0.006. Okay, 0.006. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make a box here where I put the number, and it's times 10. Make a box where I put the exponent. Okay, so I need to now figure out, is this number bigger than 1 or smaller than 1? Oh, this should be IXL will have a 0.006, okay? Same thing, but just want to make sure you see exactly what you'll see on IXL. Alright, so you have that. Alright, so this number is 0 point something. Okay? So this number is smaller than 1. Right? Just like in number 6, it was smaller than 1. Number 5, it was 130,000. This was 408. Those numbers were bigger than 1. Those were positive. This is 0.006. Smaller than 1. This will be a negative exponent. Alright, so now I need to figure out where I'm going to put my decimal. Okay, place the decimal to make the coefficient between 1 and 10. Alright, let's take a look here. I can put it between these two zeros, between the 0 and the 6, or after the 6. Okay, well, if I put it between the 0 and the 6, I have 0.6. 0.6 is not between 1 and 10. But if I put it right here after the 6, I have a 6.0. Okay, and a 6, okay, 6.0, same as 6. 6 is between 1 and 10. Okay, 6 is between 1 and 10. So I'll write a 6, or I can write a 6.0. Okay, essentially when you're coming with the coefficients, you only want one number to the left of the decimal. Notice 1 is the one number to the left of the decimal. 4 is the one number to the left of the decimal. 9 is the one number to the left of the decimal. Here, I'm going to have 6.0. There's one number to the left of the decimal, right? It's a one-digit number. It's between 1 and 10. Okay, so 6.0 is what I want. Alright, so now this number, let's figure out how many times we had to move the decimal. This is 1, 2, and 3. I had to move it 3 spaces. So I know it's going to be negative, right? So it's going to be a negative 3. Okay. Alright, let's do a few more. Let's do number 9. Alright, so for number 9, we'll start off with 26. Okay, so you start off with 26. That's what IXL will give you. It'll say rewrite it in scientific notation. So it'll have a box here, times 10, and then box for the exponent. Alright, so this number 26, it's bigger than 1. It's bigger than 1. This is going to be a positive exponent. Now I need to put the decimal somewhere to make it between 1 and 10. So right now it's 26. It's at the end, so it's bigger than 10. Okay, so let's try moving it here between the 2 and the 6. If I move it here between the 2 and the 6, I have 2.6. 2.6 is between 1 and 10. Okay. All right, let's see how many times I had to move the decimal. So it started off at the end, and I moved it over to the left, right? So I moved it one time. Okay, so it's 2.6 times 10 to the 1. 26 is the same as 2.6 times 10 to the 1. Okay, 2.6 times 10 is 26. Okay. All right, let's do another one, number 10. Let's do 0.0367. Okay, so that's the number it gives you. And again, it'll have the box times 10, and it'll have another box here. All right, so we need to put the decimal, or let's figure out if the exponent's going to be positive or negative. This is 0 point something. Okay, so it's going to be smaller than 1. Since it's smaller than 1, this will be a negative exponent, right? The 26 that we started with there was bigger than 1. So it's positive. This one, smaller than 1, so it'll be negative. All right, where are we going to put the decimal? If we have it here, 0.3. That's smaller than 1. 3.67. Hey, 3.67, that's between 1 and 10, right? If we have it between the 6 and the 7, that would be 36.7. 36.7 is bigger than 10. We don't want that. Okay, so we want 3.67. Okay, all right, now let's see how many times we had to move the decimal. We see it in this case, it's right there. We're moving it 1, 2 times. Okay, so 3.67 times 10 to the second power. Oh, and negative, so negative second power. Okay, so it's a negative 2. Okay, negative 2. Okay, it's good to put the negative there because if you put a positive 2, IXL will say it's wrong. All right, and then the last one we'll do together, last one, okay, is 1.4. Give you one like this, and students oftentimes get confused. 1.4, what do I do with 1.4? All right, so let's take a look. You have a box to write your coefficient times 10, box for your exponent. All right, so I need to write it in scientific notation. So I need a number between 1 and 10. Well, look, 1.4 is already between 1 and 10. Okay, it's already between 1 and 10, so I don't move anything. It's just going to stay 1.4. Okay, and since I didn't move it anywhere, I didn't move it one time, right? That's 0. I moved it 0 times. 1.4 times 10 to the 0 is what you would put. Okay, hey, what's 10 to the 0? That's 1. Right? All of this is 1. This is 1.4 times 1. What's 1.4 times 1? Well, it's just 1.4.